AdFreeShows.com. I'm Derek Sabato here for the latest edition of TullyVision with the one and only, the Hall of Famer himself, Tully Blanchard. Tully, how are you doing today?
Derek, it is great to be with you this morning, or I don't know if I should say that, but it is in the morning.
It is in the morning, yes. How's everything going lately, sir?
Doing well.
Good.
It is, my golf game is getting a little better, so that's a good thing. And it is, my daughter is doing tremendously well.
Yes.
And my son is doing well, and my other two daughters are alive and prospering, so that's awesome.
It's all you can ask for. And we are, Tessa made quite the splash in her return to not TNA, Impact this past week at Bout for Glory, killing it in CMLL. She was here with us last month here on TullyVision, and I'm sure we'll have her back soon enough. But today we are talking about a time 40 years ago. We had a great reaction to watching back some of your classic matches, and everybody wants to talk about nostalgia and what's going on in the past. So we're going to get into what I'm going to call a three-part series of the whole year of 1985 as we close out 2025. It is 40 years ago. 1985 is a pivotal year in the Jim Crockett promotions, and it starts off very interesting. You in 1984, you were working with a lot of talents, including Ric Flair, but you're really working with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who's not the Dragon at this point in time. But there are some issues and there's some turmoil going on, and JCP's having a lot of people leave, such as Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham. Where do you and Dusty stand and the company as 1985 begins?
That's when Dusty came in as the booker.
Yes.
And things didn't exactly explode like they were thought they were going to do. And I was called into a private meeting. We were actually in Miami at the time. And I was asked, because I was a former booker, and I was asked, how do you get this thing going? How do you get it turned around? I said, you put the best against the best. And I suggested that Wahoo wrestle Flair and let them beat the crap out of each other. And Dusty, let me wrestle you because I can make you look really good. And 1985 blasted after that.
When you think back to the issues that were happening with Ricky Steamboat and you're working with him, did you see it immediately between him and Dusty? Because that's always been the rumor. Ricky and Dusty didn't get along, and that's why Ricky left.
I really don't know. I know he gave his notice. I was very fortunate to wrestle him at Starrcade. And we had an exceptional match. Of course, it's hard not to have an exceptional match with him.
Yeah.
And it was, and he had given his notice and was going. And I don't know why. I really never tried to be in everybody's gaga, because you get involved in all that political back behind the scenes gaga, and it does nothing but tear things up. And I always tried to keep my level of stuff in the ring and try to have the best match each night. And that was the best way for me to survive.
Were you sad to see Ricky go? Or, I mean, at this point in the business, you knew at some point some people leave and some people go, but working with Ricky and not working with Ricky, were you sad to see him leave?
Um, yeah, I mean, you got he was a tremendous talent, and he was uh, a dream to be in the ring with, and there's nothing he couldn't do. And it was, it was just the start of the. Well, it wasn't the start of the wars the because Piper, when he got asked
Taken.
to come up, and I mean that was him and Valentine. I think they were the two that left,
Yep.
and that was right before or right after I got there in '84. And so that all of that kind of stuff is crazy. And then you hit the era of cable television taking over the country, and you needed to have the talent. And then Vince did what Vince does. He picks the ones that he thinks he can grab that's going to hurt the other company. And uh, those wars, the history of them all are all there. So
He did a great job of picking out the talent, didn't he, though?
yes, he did.
Speaking of picking out talent, you start 1985 with a promo talking about how you are looking for the perfect woman, and that will eventually become Baby Doll. Where does the idea of Baby Doll come from, and did you know who it was going to be when the program started?
Actually, Dusty was looking for Sunshine to give me a female valet. And so we talked about having a contest for the perfect woman, and then bring Sunshine out at the end of that. And nobody could find Sunshine.
Really?
And she was actually in a rehab at that time, and nobody knew it. And so that same, I think that it could easily have been the very same time in Miami that I had that discussion with Dusty. Um, and I went in and saw Nicola, and she was perfect. I mean, oh my gosh, she was
Perfect 10.
She was the perfect 10, and it got over, and it got over, and it got over, and it was. I mean, people still talk about it. So
That is correct. So it was originally supposed to be Sunshine, and then when no one could find her, it's a pivot to Baby Doll.
yes.
Was it always supposed to be the name Baby Doll?
I don't know. Dusty was really good at stuff like that, and
Yeah.
and I don't know that we had got that far, because I was too busy having people send pictures in and all
Yes.
that kind of stuff, and for the perfect 10. And we had unbelievable amounts of photos come in, and it was it was a very fun time to be part of the organization and be figured into that kind of stuff. And I am very fortunate to have been there at that time. So
When you think about Baby Doll joining you, did you anticipate the impact it was going to have?
no, but when I saw Nicola in the dressing room in Miami, I ran over to Dusty and I said, "Look, she's got to be Baby Doll. She's perfect." And it is. I don't think we would have had near the success with Sunshine uh, that we had with Nicola. And
I believe that is accurate.
and it was just remarkable. Uh,
When
so
you
anyway,
think when you think back, the kickoff to 1985 at the Greensboro Coliseum, it's you and Dick Slater in a Texas death match. Dick Slater, what can you tell us about working with Dirty Dick?
oh gosh, Slater was a phenomenal guy to wrestle, and he'd worked for my dad and I in Southwest Championship Wrestling, and he and Terry Funk and I were in a really bad car wreck that I didn't know that none of us knew that Slater was actually hurt as bad as he was, and I think that hurt him some brain injury. I mean, that all three of us. Terry Funk was the world champion at the time, and we were driving to Houston, and we were up about Victoria, and uh, we had a guy driving our car that fell asleep
Hmm.
and flipped the van, and back in the days when not everybody wore seatbelts, so here we are. All of us were kind of asleep, and
Yeah.
bam, the vehicle is rolling and whatever, and the side door is open up to the roof, and I'm climbing out, and police are there, and it was horrendous. We're very fortunate that nobody was killed.
Yeah.
Um, and but it was, I had mashed one of my legs. I mean, I couldn't wrestle for like 6 weeks, I think. Uh, and Slater had that head injury, and Terry Funk was probably he was up front, so he was probably
The worst of the wear.
well. I think he went back to work before the rest of us could. Of course, he was
But
world
he's
champion.
world champion.
Yeah, and but it was that next night in Houston. I know I went out in on crutches because I think I was wrestling Mascaras or somebody uh, in one of the featured matches, and people. Paul Bosch didn't exactly like the car wreck thing, and everybody was annoyed. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's life.
The main
So,
of the main event that night is a $50,000 battle royal. You're involved in it, but Magnum Tia gets the win, and this is within almost 60 days of his debut. That's a big push to get right off the bat. What's your initial impression on Terry Allen? And was the locker room cool with him getting that early push?
oh, I'm that was I mean, Paul Bosch had just changed from using us as the booking people, and he went with uh, help me with his name, Louisiana, and
Bill Watts?
Bill Watts.
Yep.
And so, I mean, that was Bill Watts's people, and so they came in, and gradually, they were beating off all the other stars to make their stars bigger stars.
Of course.
And so, I mean, it was I've nobody in our I don't think anybody in our locker room, because I was in the heel locker room,
Yeah.
messed with it. But back in those days, we rarely we dressed on one side of the building, and the baby faces dressed on the other side of the building, so there wasn't any collusion in the locker room. So
Sure.
that was something that they had to deal with.
You would wrestle Magnum for your first time later that month in January. What was it like getting in the ring with him?
he was a tiny bit stiff, maybe a medium amount of stiff. I know that he was a tremendous talent because then Dusty brought him into North Carolina, and he and I had probably an 8 or 9 month program, and he he beat me up for 8 months and got over and was, as I heard in a panel discussion back in Charlotte at the autograph show uh, last last year. He was being groomed for the world championship,
Yeah.
and he would have been a tremendous one, I think. It was, talent, looks, physique. It is. Uh, uh, and then when he had his car wreck, it was life changing for him, but it was also life changing for the nature of the territory.
Yeah.
And it definitely hurt the territory. So it hurt everybody and hurt me because I was wrestling him most of the time.
Yeah. The Perfect 10 Baby Doll finally debuts on January 19th of 1985. And almost immediately, it's Baby Doll going up against Dusty. And one of Dusty's most infamous promos, he promises to fly his mama in to smack Baby Doll. It's just the perfect storm between you, Dusty, and Baby Doll. What can you tell us about the launch of this program?
It was perfect storm is a very good description because the it was the spice that, I mean, the matches were good with Dusty, it was everything, but this was the spice. And when she slapped him, and I could and get away with that, and it gave us the dynamics of so much more. And then when he slapped her back that time, and then we he beat me and got her for 30 days, and I think we watched
Yep.
that match a couple of shows ago.
Yep.
And the different things that we could do that really had never been done with a female valet
Yeah.
manager. And it was just a very good dynamic part of the show.
When you're working with the booker and you have something that he's very interested in and it's easy to keep his engagement, that's the type of thing that Dusty enjoyed doing the most, right?
Yes.
His ability to add story elements, I don't think gets enough credit because he kind of ran him into the ground over time. He found something he liked. It worked once and it would continue and continue and continue. But the launch of Baby Doll alone was just an extraordinary way of getting more mileage out of everything without having to do too much. What is your favorite moment with Dusty, Baby Doll, and even JJ?
I think I've got a glitch on my system.
Yeah, hold on. You're in here twice. So let me do this. I'm gonna kick one out.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, but now I don't have anything.
All right, I see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
Can
but
you
I can't see you.
All right. So let's do this. I'm going to kick you out and come back in, okay? So reopen the link.
Okay.
All right, hold on one second. Move. Kick. Appreciate everyone's patience as we figure out what is going on with Tully's computer. I had 3 Tullys in here at one point, so thought we were doing okay in terms of computers, but we are not. So, Coach Keith, how are you doing? Hope everyone's enjoying the show so far. Let's see if we can get this back up and working. You're absolutely correct, Doug. Technology is great when it works. When it goes to shit, and goes to shit quickly. Let's see here. All right, we got Tully back. Let's see if this works. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see you.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Great. I'm going to restart us at the last question, which was about Dusty, and we'll take it back up from the top. All right. When you have Dusty Rhodes involved in the booking and you have something that he's interested in, it's a lot more fun when you have the booker engaged. But what do you remember as your favorite memory of you, Dusty, and Baby Doll together?
It was so many different varieties of things that we could do, because her being a female, which, you could, later on in my career, when JJ was the manager, you hit JJ and you did different spots and things like that. But Baby Doll was untouchable, and so when she did something, nobody could retaliate back. Nobody could slap her. Nobody could rip her clothes. Nobody could do that kind of stuff. So when we got to that part of something needed, it was Dusty that did it. I mean, she had slapped him before and everything, and been dragged off and for 30 days and etc. and all that kind of stuff. And then when Dusty finally slapped her back and took Baby Doll, and then that's when I got JJ, and then that opened up a whole different avenue of things that you could do that really had never been done before. I mean, managers had been there before, and now female ballet has been there, and so it was just your imagination could run pretty wild, and fortunately, we had enough ability in the ring to carry it off and do it. And it was the same time we were kicking off the Superstation.
Yeah.
And and the Superstation was gradually going nationwide, or speedily going nationwide. And the exposure that you got was just something that we had never really experienced.
Sure.
And it was a great time to be in wrestling. It was a great time to be wrestling Dusty. It was a great time to have Baby Doll. It was a great time, and it's a great time at 71 years old that I actually still get to go to autograph shows, and people actually want to take their picture with you and have you sign a picture. And
absolutely,
it is a great time to be here.
When you think about the progression of what JCP will turn into in the next year, Baby Doll's emergence an eventual turn on you to go with Dusty sets up JJ. And when you think about that, that kind of is the impetus to what will end up being the Four Horsemen, because JJ is the common link between a lot of you guys that end up coming together. So you think back to the beginning of 1985 with the emergence of Baby Doll, that all kind of lends itself to what we're going to encounter in 1986 as the Horsemen.
Yeah. It was I think the first time we ever had a 8-man tag match, when it was Ole and Arn and me and Flair, was up in Norfolk.
Yep.
And got my memory. I'm taking brain medicine. I'm not medicine. I'm taking brain
pills,
vitamins. And golly, it might be working.
It's working. Well, it's funny you bring that up, because in early March of 1985, you would actually help Wahoo McDaniel, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, beat up Ric Flair. It's weird when I went back and looked at everything. It's you and Wahoo against Flair. And I kind of forgot that Flair was kind of a babyface in early 1985.
Well, in Carolinas, he was a huge babyface.
And it's fun to see that dynamic, because I totally forgot about that till I did research. And I'm like, man, Tully and Flair on top would have been money.
When I wrestled one time against Flair, and thank God I didn't wrestle him anymore, because whenever you wrestle the world champion, if you don't win, it diminishes you a bit. And the thing that we did when Dusty, as we started the show with Dusty being the new booker at the end of 84 and then going into 85, and we switched Wahoo heel, which blew everybody's mind.
Yep.
And we had an Indian rope strap match.
Yep.
Dusty and Wahoo and I against Dusty and
Magnum?
Barry's dad.
Oh, Blackjack
Mulligan.
Yep.
And that was our first sellout in Greensboro.
Yeah.
And that was really the thing that, Greensboro was the thermometer of the whole territory. If Greensboro was drawing, every place drew.
Yep.
And that was a tremendous thing. And we went around with that and did huge business everywhere. And I'll tell you a story. I think it's hilarious, but I don't know if you or the fans would think so. But we did right during this time, we went to Wilmington, North Carolina, and we only ran that in the summertime because we drew unbelievable crowds outdoors in the football stadium and didn't really do that anywhere else. So we had a tag match with me and Wahoo against Mulligan and Dusty, and or it might have been Flair. I think it was Dusty, but anyway. And so they didn't have any ringside seats on the football field, so you were in the bleachers, and then so we had the open field to do stuff that we could never want to do. So Mulligan comes at me and does something, and I ducked, and he hit the post, and he goes down. So I jump up in the ring, and I climb up to the top rope, and I'm going to jump off the top rope onto the football field, and I win. Holy crap, that's a long way down there. So I crawl down off the ropes and get on the apron and jump onto the floor and hit Mulligan with a big elbow. There's no way I could be doing some of the stuff that goes on today, from the top of the cage to just absolutely insane. But anyway.
That's a tremendous story. You would eventually drop the TV title to Dusty as a progression in your feud. You knew Dusty was going to get the
but
title
the
from you, right?
title changed from TV title to World Television
World
Champion when
television
Dusty
title.
got. There we go.
That was literally what my question was going to be. Were you surprised to see Dusty change the vernacular as you got Ric Flair on top as the world champion, and now he's television champion, and now it's the world TV title?
Oh, not at all.
No. Was Dusty tough to be around as the booker? Did he rub people the wrong way? Did he rub you the wrong way?
Literally, Derek, I never had to be around him. I was in the ring with him, and if we needed to have any kind of a discussion, I mean, we did interviews at the office every Wednesday morning.
Right.
Did TV on Tuesday night, interviews on Wednesday morning, and if anything needed to be discussed, it was right there. Or Crockett was the in between guy or whatever. And I mean, most everything was on track and didn't require a lot of
Gotcha.
discussion. I mean, it was the talent level was there.
Yeah.
I knew my job. They knew their jobs. Flair knew his job. Ole and R knew their job. The Midnight knew their job. The Rock and Rolls knew their job. Magnum knew his job. It was great to be around a bunch of people that knew what their roles were, and we were selling out everywhere. We had the Dusty towns, the A town, the B town, the C town, all doing well.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody's making money, and it was just great.
Speaking of making money, in 1985, the WWF is also growing nationally and is having TV shows on MTV, and they're building to the first WrestleMania. Are you guys in a locker room watching it? Are you watching it? What did you think of the WWF product as they were building to the first WrestleMania?
I didn't watch the WWF. I didn't watch our product.
Oh.
I was concentrating on what I needed to do, and the TV people worried about the product.
Right.
I mean, it was, I like to look at the ratings, especially on TBS, because if our ratings went up, more viewers were there.
Yeah.
And the more viewers, the more people you put in seats. And but we had a much greater, what is the word I'm looking for? Litmus test, because we wrestled every night somewhere.
Right.
And it was more than one town. So if we're drawing in each town, it's, everybody's world is good.
Speaking of world is good, at some point, JCP spends $1 million to buy back the time slot that Vince got from the Georgia Championship Wrestling deal. And this is right before WrestleMania. Now, the story has always been that $1 million time slot helped finance WrestleMania. I've had numerous people to me tell me that's not true. WrestleMania was in no danger. WWF was in no danger. But do you think, looking back, it hurt Jim Crockett Promotions to buy that time slot back from them?
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, 6:05 on Saturday was humongous, because I mean, at the biggest time, I think we were in 260 markets.
Yep.
And then you had the cable television that just went over everything. And the more, I mean, especially like up in Ohio and the places that the Superstation was already exploding, and down in Atlanta and that, I mean, it just was the icing on the cake.
1985, the first quarter would end after WrestleMania 1, and it's you and Dusty Rhodes in a barbed wire match. There's always a lot of talk about barbed wire and hardcore wrestling and things like that. What was your experience working with barbed wire and Dusty?
Um, you had to be very careful. I did, and I still have a number of scars on my arm. Of course, you can't
Yeah.
see that on my computer, but uh, and I ripped open my little finger one time on the barbed wire, which was not real comfortable.
No, I'm sure.
Um, but the thing that we did was whenever you have a gimmick match, okay, you have to get the gimmick over.
Yeah.
If you have a cage match and you don't put the cage over, then why do you have the cage?
Right.
If you have a barbed wire match and you don't touch the barbed wire or you don't acknowledge the barbed wire, why
Doesn't
have it?
matter. Yeah.
So I mean, it was not hard to do that. It was very important to have the right barbed wire because you have 4-prong barbed wire and then you have 2-prong barbed wire. Well, 2-prong barbed wire is the kind you need, not the 4 kind. And so anyway.
There has been conversations about how hardcore matches and things like that are promoted. It's an entirely different space 40 years later than it was in 1985. When you think about you doing barbed wire matches with Dusty, it wasn't on the loop. It wasn't in every town. It wasn't every week. It was built to and meant something. How much more, and I know everyone loves this phrase, and I want to get your reaction on it, red equals green. How much did blood draw back in 1985?
I'm not sure that blood draws or did draw, but it was absolutely necessary in cage matches, barbed wire matches,
Yeah,
gimmick matches, and oftentimes, first blood matches for sure.
absolutely. Yeah. That's important. Yes.
And it is. I think that back in the day we could overdo it, um, but it was a necessity to do it in the heated feuds um, that were going on. You,
Yeah,
you you had this level of animosity on television. It had to be carried over in the ring, and so it was uh, very important. So I guess red does draw,
red equals
and
green.
yeah.
Where do you stand on funny doesn't equal money?
Um, I don't I don't know that I ever went there just because uh, I was taught and raised in a different era. Um, I was taught that if you were in a restaurant and somebody said, "Oh, you're one of those fake wrestlers," you had to win the fight.
Yes.
Absolutely, without a
Yep.
doubt. And uh, those are and I have and when we first started TullyVision, you you could remember the I have a hesitation to just blatantly talk about the things like we are today.
Absolutely.
And that was upbringing. So, I mean, I've had to go through
Transformation.
there you go, transformation into modern wrestling.
This is going to wrap up our part one of 1985. We're going to get to the summer of 1985 next month here on TullyVision. And man, do you have some interesting stuff going on with some interesting partners. One of the things that stood out to me the most in taking a look at it, I forgot you were in a tag team with Abdul the Butcher. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, Bull Rope matches. You and Magnum, The Loop. Also, Sam Houston, which I completely forgot about until I started doing this research as well. So there's a lot to discuss in the summer. You are watching the evolution of 1985 here on TullyVision. We're going to get to the summer. We're going to be discussing between May and August, and then we're going to get into the close out the year, October or September to the end of the year. But you have a big appearance coming up on Thursday, November 6th. For San Antonio Hybrid School of Wrestling, Legacy in the Lone Star. It is an unforgettable night featuring you and Tessa in San Antonio. What's that going to be like for you guys to return Thursday, November 6th?
It's the same organization that did the match in New Orleans. And I know that the facility is not the largest one, but I think that the television and internet certainly change so much stuff that and I know they've asked me to do an interview and talk about Southwest Championship Wrestling and that, and it's always a joy to watch Tessa. As I told her, texted her the other day, that how proud I was of her, but that she's a true professional. She is she takes this business very seriously and does the things that are required of her and does them professionally. And that's really all you can ask of anybody, because there's a lot of people that are not professional and let personalities get involved and their own attitudes and stuff like that, and don't even realize that they're allowing their attitudes to be that, to affect themselves. And it was and then at some future thing, we're going to talk about AEW. I like the look on your face there, Derek.
We will absolutely get to that. Absolutely. November 6th.
And my very last match ever.
Yes. Ever. In Your Face Smash Pro Wrestling is Thursday, November 6th, San Antonio, Texas. Very limited tickets available. Not just you in the corner of Tessa, but you're also going to have Violent J of the Insane Clown Posse there, Moose from TNA, and so much more. Go get tickets now, onlywrestlerslive.com. You can get your tickets there. Limited availability, I'm told, so make sure you get them now if you can. The meet and greet's going to feature Violent J, Moose, Tessa, Tully, and even Luke Hawks, so you don't want to miss it if you're in the area. onlywrestlerslive.com. You don't want to miss it. Tully, we'll be back next month continuing on our conversation here in 1985 here on TullyVision. Everybody, drop your comments below if you got questions regarding this episode or the next episode. And anything else you think we need to cover?
You're doing a great job.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone who joined us today here for the live chat here on adfreeshows.com. Drop a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. And stay tuned. We'll be here right back next month on TullyVision here on adfreeshows.com.